Good morning, my creepers. Good evening. Good afternoon. Depending where you're watching this from. If you think I'm cringe, then yes, you are correct. And you are blah 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 blah. I'm guessing by the voice that I was doing earlier and the blah 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 blah, we are talking about vampires. The beautiful, beautiful creatures of the night. And we're actually going to be talking about my favorite movie of all time, which I will give you hints. First hint, it's vampires. Second hint, look at my background. See anything different? You see it? You see it? Tell me you see it. And no, it is not Twilight. I admit, I do love the movies, but no, it's not Twilight. Another hint is that it is from books. It's actually from a whole Chronicle series. Me saying that should already put into your mind of what it is, because it is the Vampire Chronicles. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit of history of vampires. So I might get asked this question, Creepy, do you believe in vampires? I believe that they came from another source of legends. I guess you can say, in my beliefs of anything supernatural, I believe in ghosts 100%. But in the world where demons, fae, duendes, any of those situations that come up, I believe that the stories came from somewhere, from someone who is seeing something. I guess you can say, in my perspective. They might not have been called vampires back then. They might have just been pure demons. But I believe that the word of mouth came from somewhere, because if you go through ancient history, you find that there are demons and ghouls who have the same characteristics as vampires. So the first story that came out was called The Vampire, and it was by Dr. John Williams in 1819, which is 80 years before Dracula came to light, which was in 1897 by Bram Stoker. In that short story, the vampire was named as Lord Ruthven, and he was an aristocrat who seduced female victims. As everyone knows, that Dracula was based on Vlad the Impaler, but did you actually know there was Carmilla, who came after Dr. Williams' short story, The Vampire, which that one was published by Joseph Chandler Le Fon, and that was published in 1871. So in order, you got The Vampire, Carmilla, and then Dracula. But where does Nosferatu come in? So Nosferatu is actually the first film vampire based on Dracula, which again, that Dracula movie, which came out in 1992 with Keanu Reeves and Winona Ryder. So Nosferatu is meaning the offensive one or the insufferable one. If you like black and white movies or don't mind it, I would recommend watching it. I am guilty. I have not seen the remake one of this year, 2025, which I plan to. I've heard that it's good. I've heard that it's bad. I'm not sure if it was a remake. I heard it was a remake, but we'll see once I watch it. If you want, I can definitely do a video on the black and white one and then the actual 2025 one too, just to compare. If you like me to. If you like me to, comment down below, please. I won't know unless you tell me. All right, so another hint is it's mixed with sex, blood, and rock and roll. So that being said, drumroll please. We are talking about Queen of the Damned. My beautiful darling Lestat. I love him to pieces. If you have not read Vampire Chronicles, which is by Anna Rice, I do definitely recommend reading it. There is a total of 10 books. In order of the Vampire Chronicles is Interview the Vampire Lestat, Queen of the Damned, The Tales of the Body Thief, Memuk, the Devil, the Vampire Armand, which plays a small part in the movie Interview with the Vampire, played by Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise. And Amar was played by Antonio Banderas, and he was scrumptious. He was so cute. Look at this picture. Come on, Antonio Banderas, come on. Zorro, yeah. Then you have Maverick, Blood and Gold, and then Blackwood Farm. So this might be a lengthy one, but I'm going to try my best to just keep it to Queen of the Damned. So the movie and, of course, the books do not really correspond with each other. There's parts, there's characters in there that are in the books, but with how they did the movie is kind of made into a love interest, and there are misleading information, so I will definitely correct that as much as I can. If you like me to do a whole story on Lestat, just let me know and I'll definitely do that for you, because I do love all the characters in the books. So let me go ahead and tell you a little bit about Lestat de Liancourt. He was born on November 7th of 1760 during the reign of Louis XV in France. He was the youngest of 3 boys, although his mother gave birth to 4 other boys and 1 girl. None of them survived during childhood. His father was a marquis, and the family did not have any wealth as much, but him being the youngest of 3, Lestat was not in line to inherit any assets or his father's title. His mother's name was Gabriella. At the age of 12, he went ahead and got educated in the monastery, and after declaring to become a priest, his father and brother had removed him from the family will. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get into the movie. So the movie starts out as Lestat is in his slumber. He's been in his slumber for about more than 100 years. What wakes him up is the rock music that was been playing in his old house before he fell asleep. As soon as he emerges awake, he of course does his feeding to get stronger and ends up going to the band. As soon as he gets to the band, he starts yelling out this sexy, raspy voice, and they all stop and look at him, basically horrified. And he just blurted out saying, "I am the vampire Lestat." He says in those 3 words that he had destroyed every secret possible about vampires. So this is the movie. So according to the book though, the band's name is Satan's Night Out. As soon as he emerges in, he goes and does his voice. He does tell him that he is the vampire Lestat. They are not shocked at all, and it stuns him. The reason why they know about him already is due to the fact Louis, who he fell in love with in the movie Interview the Vampire or the book Interview the Vampire. But Louis has already came out with his book specifically telling about his life with Lestat. So back to the movie, he basically adopts the band members, and they become his family, his children, his bandmates. And they start making music, and they get really famous in mostly the goth area, which of course, goth and vampires definitely mix. Love it. In his lyrics, he's telling every secret there is about vampires. So like I said, this movie does end up having a love story with Jesse Reeves. Jesse is actually a witch according to the books, who later on does turn into a vampire. In the movie though, it tells Lestat turning into a vampire, which actually it was her aunt Margaret. It's weird how it says, but here's the name. And she actually is the one who turns her into a vampire, breaking the witch legacy. But of course, Jesse doesn't know anything about this, and it doesn't really explain it in the movie as well. You just see her end up having visions of her, and visions of her being at this kind of mansion type place with everyone around, and her aunt telling her that she can't stay with her no longer. So fast forward though, she becomes a Telemaskin, which is a secret society studying the paranormal, and she gets very obsessed with Lestat to the point that she's always looking at Lestat and hearing his lyrics to death, and that's how she starts end up going on her own little field trips, which her guardian of the Telemaskin tells her that she's not allowed to go any field work because it's dangerous. To satisfy her thirst, he actually gives her Lestat's journals. In the journals, it tells him from beginning to end how his life was, who turned him, and how he woke up Akasha, and just everything up towards he lost the book pretty much. In the movie, he starts writing his book about Marius changing him and pretty much stalking him and showing him everything to be a vampire. Marius does show him how to be a vampire to a certain point in his life, but he did not actually change him. Who changed him, his name was Magnus. Lestat actually didn't have no choice but to become a vampire. Magnus was stalking him, and once he finally caught him, changed him. The messed up thing about that is that he felt so bad for changing him into a vampire, he decided to throw himself in a fire, leaving Lestat, a newborn vampire, alone with no idea what he has to do or what he is or anything. We're still in the book side, so whenever he does become a vampire, he has no idea what's going on, but then he goes and changes his mother, Gabriella, into a vampire as well. Together, they end up going around the world, and they find Armand. Armand tells them about Marius and how he changed him and taught him everything he needs to know about being a vampire. Lestat sent multiple messages to him saying that we need to be taught, pretty much like begging, pleading for the history of what they are and what what sort of things they can do. Come to find out later that they never end up getting an answer for him, so he decides to go to sleep. Then Marius actually finds him, I believe it was like 100 years later, wakes him up and teaches him everything, and that's where we end up with this scene in a Greek island, him teaching him everything he needs to know. Okay, so we are coming up to the Akasha part. Marius was the guardian of Akasha in The King of the Damned as well. He does end up playing the violin a lot. There is a scene right here. This is actually my favorite scene. Whenever he picks up the violin, he's playing it really fast. The girl and the father start singing it and they start freaking out and try to flee. The violin part is not a remembrance of the girl as it talks in the movie. Lestat, before he became a vampire, he had a lover named Nikki. Nikki loved playing the violin. It's the only thing that calmed him. Later on, Nikki betrayed him, saying that he actually never did love him and that he always despised him because he was wealthy and his title. The violin is significant of his soul pretty much because of Nikki, not because of this girl right here, but the movie portrayed it as it being from the girl. So Lestat does play for Akasha, and then Akasha does wake up, shows her arm, letting Lestat drink from her. This happens in the movie and the book, but in the book, the king next to Akasha ends up getting jealous and trying to kill him. So he gets reanimated, I guess what I'm picturing is like in a stone and like trying to kill Lestat, but Marius pleads for his life. Marius tells him that Lestat will never know where Akasha is and that he'll relocate them. So Marius ends up leaving him with Akasha and the king, and they go somewhere else. Fast forward to the movie now. The band is up and going, and the band is actually called the Vampire Lestat. Because of him doing all his secrets in the vampire world and his lyrics, they all want to kill him. And of course, that gets Marius' attention. Fast forward to my other favorite part. This is the concert part. Every vampire wants to kill him. So Akasha has already awoken up. She hears his rock music as well. He ends up killing the king of the damned, absorbing his life energy, and then finding Lestat to be the new king. She's like literally burning everyone to crisp. Like here's this scene in the nightclub. She's trying to find Lestat, tracing his scent, I guess you can say. And the vampire comes up because like he's gonna be dust soon. So she does this very sexy dance and then starts blazing up the place pretty much. And of course, Akasha is played by this beautiful woman right here, Aaliyah. Unfortunately, she did pass away in a plane crash before even the movie premiered. But look how beautiful she looks as Akasha. Oh my god, I wish she was able to see that, and just it's so amazing. So fast forwarding back to the concert, he's killing vampires, Marius is killing vampires, the crowd is going wild, and then they sense Akasha coming. Literally, Marius and Lestat are like surrounded by all these vampires. They all end up starting to burn, and that's where Akasha starts scooping down and picking them up. They have their own little sexy love scene, drinking Akasha's blood even more during this scene. He ends up being a daywalker, which a daywalker is he gets to walk in the sun now. Akasha tells him about like him being king and vampires rising up, and you can tell Lestat was hesitant. He's like, I don't want to kill everyone because like I previously said, Lestat does still have his humanity. The movie doesn't portray it, but the books do definitely portray it. He's just very angry right now, and honestly has every right to be. He has gone through so much through the thousands of decades he's been alive. So fast forward to the end now. So Jessie is with her aunt Marhet. She ends up taking her back to the mansion. Jessie was at the concert trying to warn Lestat and trying to protect him because in the movie, she is very deeply in love with him. So they're all coming together. They're saying that they need to kill Akasha. They want to stay hidden and keep humanity thriving. As soon as Akasha and Lestat come in, Jessie is like, what has she done to you? And I think Akasha starts getting a little bit jealous because what is this human like getting attached to my man now? Akasha orders Lestat to kill her. And, she's willing to do it because she loves Lestat. And she's like, this is what I want. He ends up draining her, but he doesn't drain her to the point her heart doesn't stop. As soon as they kill Akasha, she goes back and changes her into a vampire in this movie. That being said, though, how they kill Akasha is each one of them ends up jumping on her and drinking her blood, pretty much bleeding her dry. Lestat is the first one because Lestat has been drinking Akasha's blood to get the previous king's powers. He gives them an opportunity for all of them to attack. Then he is the last one to attack again. But Marhanet tells Lestat that he has to stop and that she is going to take the last drop. In the vampire world, you're not supposed to drink the last stop or that is instant death. She ends up taking Akasha's sleep death, I guess you can say, into herself and letting Akasha perish completely. So everything is finally over. Lestat turns Jessie into a vampire and they go on to live happily ever after. Jessie ends up going back to the Telemascid where David, her guardian, has been the one teaching her everything about the paranormal and gave Jessie Lestat's journal. So in the book, Lestat and David become really good friends and he actually helps the Telemascins because there has been a lot more history going on in the books. Jessie is mostly in the Queen of the Dam and also the last book. The first time they actually meet is when David and Lestat are together in San Francisco and they talk about how Marhanet died. But guys, yes, so that is Queen of the Dam. I know I just gave y'all a lot of information from the book and the movie, but I do love them both completely. If you want me to do a whole thing about Lestat, I can definitely do that for you. He has gone through so much, did so much for the vampire community and as well as the Telemascus community, which is aka the human community. Anyways, guys, and I do recommend listening to the soundtrack. It is so good. Just everything about it is so good. And the one who plays Lestat, look at this. Yeah. Lestat has been betrayed 3 times. So you got Interview the Vampire, he was played by Tom Cruise. You got Queen of the Damned, who is played by Stewart. And then you got Interview the Vampire and that Lestat. I mean, out of those 3, I would think that the Queen of the Damned actor and the Interview the Vampire TV show actor is better. I kind of just kicked Tom Cruise out. But anyways, guys, let me know what y'all think. Comment, like, share if you like this. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Y'all all stay creepy and stay tuned for the next one. Bye-bye.